ιδιαίτερη. Εκεί που όλα σταμάτησαν, εμείς δημιουργήσαμε ένα νέο θεσμό. Τα Public Events Go Social έγιναν ο τρόπος για να συναντηθούμε από όλες τις μεριές της γης. Αγαπημένοι δημιουργοί άνοιξαν τις κάμερές τους και έδωσαν ραντεβού εδώ. Και φαίνεται πως το είχαμε ανάγκη. Η συμμετοχή σας μας πηγαίνει πάντα μπροστά και γι' αυτό συνεχίζουμε. Public Events Go Social 2021 Edition. Και ερχόμαστε ακόμα πιο κοντά. Πες μας, ποιον θέλεις να γνωρίσεις και αυτή τη χρονιά.
Καλησπέρα σε όλους. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τα Public για την σημερινή ευκαιρία που μας έχουν δώσει να έχουμε μαζί μας τη Romy Hausman. Romy, I'm welcome you from Greece. I would like to thank also Public and Metechmio, your editor in Greece, that arranged this so let's hope cool event. And we are very excited that we are here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've tried to learn a sentence in Greek. I've tried to learn poseia. Is that how are you?
Okay, it's close. It's close.
Close.
But it's a very good try. It's a very good try. Okay, it's pos ise. It's the actual. Pos is, yes.
Okay, and what's kalimera? Kalimera's good morning.
Yes,
and what
yes.
Now at this time?
We can say like gute Abend, I suppose, in German. So here it's καλό απόγευμα.
Καλό απόγευμα.
Once again, too close, but okay.
Close is good enough.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so I will make a brief intro in Greek about your book and your CV, and then I will come to you with a question. Λοιπόν, είμαστε, όπως είπα, πολύ χαρούμενοι που έχουμε σήμερα μαζί μας τη Romy Hausman. Η Romy Hausman είναι συγγραφέας, έχει γεννηθεί στη Γερμανία και από την ηλικία των 24 ετών ήταν editor σε εταιρεία παραγωγής ταινιών στο Μονάχο. Από τη γέννηση λοιπόν του γιού της, Romy, όπως μας λέει η ίδια, δούλευε στη τηλεόραση σαν ελεύθερος επαγγελματίας και στη παραγωγή αλλά και στο κομμάτι το σεναριακό. Το καλό μου παιδί, Dear Child, όπως είναι η μετάφραση που έχουμε, είναι το ντεμπούτο της στο κομμάτι της αστυνομικής λογοτεχνίας, στο κομμάτι της λογοτεχνίας του thriller και έχει επίσης εκδοθεί και το δεύτερο μυθιστόρημά της με το αγγλικό όνομα Sleepless, το οποίο έχει εκδοθεί το 2021. Όπως μας λέει η ίδια, ζει με την οικογένειά της σε ένα απομονωμένο σπίτι στο δάσος, κοντά στη Στουργκάρδη και μάλιστα θα λέγαμε ότι και η υπόθεση θυμίζει αυτό το απομονωμένο σπίτι στην Στουργκάρδη, όχι, αλλά το απομονωμένο σπίτι μέσα στο δάσος, σίγουρα. Okay, Romy, it's really an astonishing debut that you made with this book. Dear Child is a psychological thriller about a woman, actually, who is held in captivity in a cabin in the woods until she escapes.
Yeah.
So, how you decided to set up a story with a family? You're inspired by an event, or maybe it's a clever way to approach a psychological thriller through a setup, a form that can make the audience, the reader, to connect with the main characters. Is the family-related issues that are grabbing the attention of a reader? What's your driver to this story?
You know, when I was working as a TV journalist, I was very attached to the true criminal case of Natasha Campbell. Have you heard of the Natasha Campbell case from Austria?
No, personally, I don't know this case, but I will search it and I'll keep also notes what you were speaking.
Yeah, Natasha was a little girl. She was 10 years old and she was abducted on her way to school. And her kidnapper brought her to the basement of his house and kept her there for 8 years. till she was 18 and managed to flee. And after she fled, she was on TV and gave one interview. And I sat there and watched that interview, and she was so intelligent, so fierce, a wonderful young woman. She had never visited school anymore, of course, yeah, and everything she knew was from teaching herself through her books. But she was so smart, and I was so, yeah, impressed by that young woman. And I guess this was something I never got out of my mind, and this was obviously something that inspired me to write Dear Child. And of course, I'm a mother. I'm very into that family topic and about having children, and I'm very interested in psychological stuff. So at one point, I guess it just all mixed up. And the fact that I'm living in the woods myself, this is my little house, and it's placed in the woods. So this is actually the environment of Dear Child. So it all mixed together, and then there was that plot.
Okay, so it's based on a true story?
Yeah.
Okay, this is very catchy. You should write it. You should have written it on the cover. That it's based on a good true story.
Pace, but that young woman, that Natasha Campbell, she was in the basement and taught herself stuff, and there was
this is great.
Some of this is part of Dear Child, yeah.
Okay, so Romy, I'm going to translate in Greek now. So, όπως μας είπε λοιπόν η Romy, τη ρώτησα με πολύ ενδιαφέρον πώς εμπνεύστηκε, πώς και ξεκίνησε να γράφει ένα ψυχολογικό θρίλερ για μια γυναίκα η οποία είναι στην αιχμαλωσία, και αν αυτό το οποίο την έκανε να το γράψει είναι ότι ήθελε να γράψει ένα ψυχολογικό θρίλερ για να είναι κοντά στους χαρακτήρες, για να είναι κοντά στην οικογένεια που υποφέρει, ή αν το έκανε κυρίως για να είναι ένας εύκολος τρόπος τεχνικά να κρατήσει την προσοχή του κοινού με το να συγκεντρώνεσαι στην οικογένεια. Η Ρώμη μου απάντησε ότι οφείλεται στην έμπνευσή της από πραγματικά γεγονότα. Συγκεκριμένα μου είπε για μια υπόθεση γνωστή στην Γερμανία με την Νατάσα και την εξαφάνισή της, έτσι ονομάστηκε το case, και για ένα 14χρονο κορίτσι το οποίο πάλεψε μόνη της και κατάφερε μόνη της να μάθει, να διαβάζει, να γράφει, ένα έξυπνο κορίτσι όπως μου είπε, και αυτό ήταν το οποίο της έδωσε την έμπνευση. Romy, as you mentioned, you have worked as a journalist, and I have read also in one of your interviews that you were looking for the feelings, the real feelings of the relatives that are close to the victims in the cases that it was under your account. And as I realized, this is something that we can see also from your story of the Dear Child. So, this genre, the psychological thrillers, are based more on the characters and are not based so much on the plots, not so much on the plot twist. So the main driver is not to make the reader surprised, but the main driver is to emphasize in the human nature, in the feelings. And I want to ask you of how you investigated, how you made these feelings to came out of your imaginary characters.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the book doesn't surprise you. I think it does.
No, I didn't say something like this. I said that it doesn't. It is not moving to edges like the detective stories.
It's not about blood and guts.
Exactly.
About emotion, and this was something that was quite important to me because I love reading thrillers myself, but there's a lot of thrillers that just work on that base. A lot of blood, a lot of guts and shocking effects. And I thought, okay, where's the emotion? So maybe that could be something for me because I'm very interested, as I said, in the psychology. And when I was working as a TV journalist, I had a lot of interviews with people who suffered from bad things in their life. There were abused women and children who had bad homes and all that stuff. And I really learned from my work as a TV journalist, I learned to listen. I didn't do my interviews with papers and with my questions prepared. I just learned to sit down and talk to those people. And sometimes, even if they lived under circumstances that I could not that I could not approve of, I learned to emphasize with them and to imagine that I was in their position. And this really helped me to get into my characters in Dear Child, because this is a question that they often ask me, because it's an older man. It's a woman in her 30s and it's a little girl. So how do you manage to get into those characters? It's just your imagination. It's just trying to imagine what would I feel if I were in that position.
Okay, and actually you have lived by the stories that the other people are telling you in your interviews as a journalist. So it's kind of your part that is coming out, the part of the stories. Ωραία, ρώτησα στη συγκεκριμένη ερώτηση από τι εμπνεύστηκε, πώς οδηγήθηκε μέσα από ένα ψυχολογικό θρίλερ να γράψει για αυτούς τους ανθρώπους που περιγράφει στο βιβλίο της. Καταλαβαίνετε λίγο και περίεργη θέση μου, δεν μπορώ να πω πολλά για να μην φέρω κάποιο spoiler. Γιατί είναι ένα βιβλίο το οποίο πραγματικά είναι ένα εντυπωσιακό ντεμπούτο, είναι ένα εντυπωσιακό βιβλίο στο ψυχολογικό θρίλερ. Είναι ένα βιβλίο για μία γυναίκα και δύο παιδιά οι οποίοι αφήνονται σε μια καλύβα, αλλά το ιδιαίτερο με αυτό το βιβλίο είναι ότι ξεκινάει εκεί που όλα τα άλλα σταματούν, δηλαδή ξεκινάει από την ημέρα της απελευθέρωσής τους από αυτή την καλύβα, το οποίο το κάνει πολύ συναρπαστικό, το κάνει να δημιουργεί την αγωνία. Η Ρώμη μου είπε ότι το σημαντικό που πιστεύει ότι ήταν η ιδιοποιώς διαφορά της από τα άλλα ψυχολογικά θρίλερ ήταν ότι εκείνη έχει δουλέψει ως δημοσιογράφος, είναι εκείνη η οποία έχει ακούσει ιστορίες από ανθρώπους να τις αφηγούνται, είναι εκείνη η οποία έμπαινε μέσα σε αυτήν τη δουλειά ως δημοσιογράφος, δεν ήταν απλά μια γυναίκα, ένας επαγγελματίας που κρατούσε σημειώσεις, οπότε μέσα από όλη αυτήν τη διαδικασία κατά κάποιο τρόπο μπόρεσε να καταλάβει τους ανθρώπους, μπόρεσε να καταλάβει τους χαρακτήρες και πολλά από αυτά τα στοιχεία τα έβαλε και στο βιβλίο της. Να πω ότι μπορείτε να γράφετε τις ερωτήσεις. Είναι μια μοναδική ευκαιρία σήμερα που έχουμε τη Ρώμη μαζί μας. Είναι και ένα βιβλίο το οποίο έχει ήδη αγοραστεί για ταινία, όπως με ενημέρωσε και στην Ελλάδα, και στη Γερμανία, με συγχωρείτε, αλλά και στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες Αμερικής. Οπότε μην διστάσετε να γράφετε τις ερωτήσεις σας είτε στα ελληνικά είτε στα αγγλικά. Okay, Romy, the story is told from three main perspectives. A kidnapped woman who has just escaped her prison, her daughter, Hannah, and Lena's father, Matthias, who has been searching for his daughter for 13 years. So here we have three main perspectives, three different points of view. How hard was for you to tell us the story from three different angles, three different characters, and not all the characters under the same gender? So how hard was it for you?
Well, it actually worked out quite well. I don't know. I guess I'm a very dramatic person, you know. As I said before, it's not so hard for me to try and imagine me on the position of my characters. That works. I don't know how. Maybe I should have been an actress or something.
No, you're a talent. You're a talent, I can say.
Thank you.
I see it.
But you know, when I started, the actual point of starting was I wanted to write about a girl, which came out to be Hannah later. I wanted to write about a girl who has no idea about the real world. So who was like a little alien girl from another planet and comes down to Earth and just sees a lot of things for the first time. So this was the actual point to start. And I don't know, maybe because I'm a mother, I get to understand how a child thinks. You don't know if Hannah has some sort of autism. I leave it open by what's the word for
interpretation, about the interpretation of the reader? Okay, because at some point it mentioned that is suffering from Asperger.
Yeah, actually, I didn't want to say it is like this. I just said it could be. So
you keep it open. Great.
Yeah, and because you don't know if it's not right to feel like her and see things like her if you have never left a cabin in the woods. Yeah, if this is your world, so your thinking is quite caged too. So I don't know how it works, but it worked out quite well. Yeah, to be all those persons. I thought
Okay.
it was important to tell the story from different point of views, because which one should I have chosen? Should I have told the whole story from Hannah's point of view? It wouldn't have made sense because she has a different view of the world, yeah? And you have to read very carefully to understand what she means. So if I had chosen Lena's perspective, I mean, there's 100 and thousands of thrillers that go from the victim's perspective only. If I had chosen the father, I don't know. I thought it could be just a complete picture if I took all three together.
Okay. This is surprising for me because I thought that you have in mind to keep the story from Lena's because, but this, as we said, is an interpretation because as a reader, I followed the Lena's path. But so you say that the other two characters are mainly supporting to Hannah. So this is great. Ωραία. Λοιπόν, ρώτησα ότι το βιβλίο έχει μια προοπτική, έχει μια αφήγηση από τρία διαφορετικά πρόσωπα, από μια γυναίκα η οποία έχει απαχθεί, η οποία είναι η Λένα και έχει καταφέρει να δραπετεύσει, από την κόρη της, την Χάνα, την Άννα, όπως είναι η ελληνική μετάφραση, και από τον πατέρα της Λένας, τον Ματία, ο οποίος έψαχνε την κόρη του για 13 ολόκληρα χρόνια. Οπότε έχουμε τρεις διαφορετικές λογικές, τρεις διαφορετικές προοπτικές στην αφήγησή μας και ρώτησα πώς και οδηγήθηκε σε αυτό το κομμάτι. Η απάντηση που πήρα είναι ότι στην αρχή σκεφτότανε και αυτό έκανε τελικά, να γράψει την προοπτική από τη νεαρή κοπέλα, από την κόρη της Λένας που δραπέτευσε και αυτή μαζί της από την καλύβα στο δάσος. Και μου είπε ότι το έκανε αυτό γιατί ήθελε να γράψει γενικά για ένα μικρό κορίτσι, ήθελε να γράψει για μια κοπέλα η οποία μπορεί κάπου να συμπεριφέρεται σαν εξωγήινος, ήθελε να γράψει για μια μικρή κοπέλα η οποία δεν ήξερε ποιος είναι ο πραγματικός κόσμος, καθώς έχει μεγαλώσει μέσα στην καλύβα αυτή για αρκετά χρόνια, οπότε ήθελε να δει πώς ένα μικρό κορίτσι μπορεί να αντιμετωπίσει αυτό το κομμάτι και γι' αυτό κιόλας έχει βάλει κάποια στοιχεία που δείχνουν ότι το κορίτσι πάσχει από ένα σύνδρομο αυτισμού. Συγκεκριμένα, κάποια στιγμή μες στο βιβλίο αναφέρεται το σύνδρομο του Asperger. Οπότε η πρόθεσή της ήταν στην αρχή να γράψει την αφήγηση από το μικρό κορίτσι και στη συνέχεια μπήκανε και οι υπόλοιποι τρεις χαρακτήρες. Χαρακτηριστικά με ρώτησε τι να έκανα, ποιο να έβαζα. Εγώ της είπα ότι εγώ όπως το διάβαζα πήγα με την προοπτική και με την οπτική της Λένας, της πρωταγωνίστριας. Okay, back to you.
Off topic. Yeah, Greek sounds so cool. I don't understand anything, not one word. It sounds so great. I should learn it, really.
It's unfortunately, it's a very difficult language, Greek.
Oh.
So, okay, and I'm trying to speak a little fast so I can have a lot of room and time for more questions. So, με συγχωρείτε κιόλας που τα λέω λίγο γρήγορα, αλλά είναι πραγματικά είμαι αρκετά ενθουσιασμένος που συναντάω σήμερα, έστω και με αυτές τις συνθήκες από μακριά τη Ρώμη και θέλω να έχω αρκετές ερωτήσεις για την ίδια. Okay, so, back to you. Who is your favorite writer or your favorite writers? Are you inspired by crime novels? Are you reading crime novels or the genre, this genre is not your favorite? I have read in an interview that Gillian Flynn, like me, is one of your favorite, but I want to know more about it.
Yeah, I read a lot of thrillers. I love Gillian Flynn or Alice Feeney or, of course, Stephen King, who's the master of us all. And but my favorite author of all times, no, there's two, is Hemingway and Paulo Coelho. I love everything what Paulo Coelho does because it's absolutely no thriller at all, but it just gives you a wonderful feeling and it just helps you develop as a human being. So this is my favorite author of all times.
Okay, so Coelho and Hemingway. Total stories. Okay, they have stories with mystery, but you cannot categorize them as crime thrillers. But
you know, Hemingway was the first author I read when I was 13, 14. So, and I get all his books, and my mom thought I was strange because that old man writes so, like, sometimes like a machine, very short sentences, and all the emotion very good covered underneath. Yeah, you have to look for emotion in Hemingway's text.
He's a master. He's a
Yeah,
master.
he's the master, and this was the author that I read from my teenage years on. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Ρώτησα λοιπόν αν είσαι επηρεασμένη από άλλους συγγραφείς οι οποίοι γράφουν στο ίδιο είδος. Μου είπε ότι φυσικά μου αρέσει πολύ η Φλίν, η Alice Feney και ο αρχηγός όλων, ο Stephen King. Αλλά παρόλα αυτά, εμένα μου αρέσουν και η έμπνευσή της, δηλαδή από μικρή ηλικία. Μου είπε από τα 14, από τα 15 διάβαζε Hemingway και της άρεσε πάρα πολύ και ο Παόλο Κοέλιο, οπότε μου είπε ότι ναι, μεν φυσικά υπάρχει μια αγάπη προς αυτό που εμείς αποκαλούμε αστυνομικό μυθιστόρημα, αλλά ήδη από πολύ μικρή ηλικία έχει αυτούς τους δύο ως αγαπημένους. Okay. I read the book. I actually finished it three hours ago. I told you also individually that it's a great story. It's a shocking and gripping story. So I have a question about the inspiration. Do you read the news and get inspired by real incidents? You said that you were inspired by real incidents in terms when you were a journalist. But how much the real life, the real events are interfere in your imagination, in your characters?
Well, it does. I don't read the news, actually not the newspapers. What I'm interested in is older cases like the BTK killer, or Son of Sam, all those classical true crime cases. That's much more my interest. And of course, it does inspire you, or you try to get into the psyche of those kidnappers or murderers or something like that. But the main thing for me is not really the case, but what happens if something happens to quite normal people like us. Quite normal people are getting into a huge trouble, into danger that threatens their life. They tend to lose something that they hold dear. How do they react? All those stuff. That's much more my interest. I guess thriller is a genre that is a great playground to work with psychology. I'm as I told you, I'm not into blood and guts and all those stuff, and someone's coming with a knife and hitting hard. And it's just not mine. But I'm searching for a genre that I can play with all those psychological aspects. Yeah.
Okay, so actually you are testing when someone is losing the stability, right? Their standards.
And what happens if you walk on a thin line between good and bad? Yeah, because personally, I think that even a good person can do very bad things that can happen to all of us. We all could be murderers if the situation would acquire a murder. You would do it. If someone threatens your child, you would be capable of murder. That's it.
Yes, also in Greece there are a misunderstanding with the word thriller. I don't know if it's also in Germany. When we are hearing thriller in Greece, we are thinking about, you say blood, someone hunting someone to kill it in the middle of the night,
Okay. Much more like horror, like a horror.
Exactly. There's a misunderstanding here about horror and thriller.
Okay, what do you say? It's
No, it's thriller. It's the right word, but we all have to clarify it, that thriller doesn't mean isolated place when someone is trying to kill someone when the clock ticks midnight. Okay. Ρώτησα, ουσιαστικά επανέλαβα για να έχω μια ολοκληρωμένη απάντηση την έμπνευση, αν είναι από τα πραγματικά περιστατικά ή από τις εφημερίδες, και πώς δίνει σημασία σε αυτό το είδος, πώς ακολουθεί αυτό το είδος. Μου είπε κάτι πολύ ενδιαφέρον που το συγκρατώ, ότι δεν την ενδιαφέρει το είδος ως προς το αυτό, αλλά την ενδιαφέρει να έχει, όπως μου είπε, ένα kindergarten, μια παιδική χαρά να μπορεί να παίζει με αυτό το είδος. Την ενδιαφέρει πολύ όταν οι άνθρωποι φεύγουν από τις νόρμες τους, όταν χάνουν την σταθερότητά τους και πώς αντιδρούν. Διαπίστωσε ότι δεν υπάρχει καλό ή κακό, ότι όλοι κινούμαστε στη μέση του καλού ή του κακού και ότι κάποιοι, ακόμα και κάτω από δύσκολες συνθήκες, θα μπορούσαν εν δυνάμει να είναι δολοφόνοι. Okay, Romy, I have a tricky question.
Okay, tricky questions. Go on.
Because I also like this author, and I know that you also like it. Okay, so is Gillian Flynn, The Dark Places, Gone Girl, and all of this sequel who kick off this transition from detective stories to this psychological thriller? Who can take these credits? Because you know that this genre is becoming very popular through the last 10 years. And if we can give credits abroad to an author that updated this style of writing, this style of stories, who would be? For me personally, to help you, is Gillian Flynn. She's undoubtedly the one who put it in the trail, who made it successful.
I think so too. For me, it's so too, because I remember when Gone Girl was published, I was so perplexed because, that strange sound in the females, I've forgotten her name, in the diary notes.
Yes.
No, it was just like totally abnormal for a thriller that was completely new, and I was very flashed by that. So I would say, yeah, it must be Gillian Flynn, definitely.
Ωραία. Romy, you didn't have to agree with me. It was just a question,
but I can
like it.
Someone else, also, who came after her? There was Paula Hawkins and everything like that. But I can't remember who came before Gillian Flynn with that sort of story. I can't think of anyone.
Yes.
I would love to disagree with you. If I could, I would.
Okay, so we can ask it from the audience. Και I'm switching in Greek. Να ρωτήσουμε το κοινό αν ποιοι πιστεύετε ότι έφεραν αυτό το είδος, το κάνανε αρκετά εμπορικό στην Ελλάδα, δηλαδή το ψυχολογικό thriller. Εμείς εδώ με τη Ρώμη συζητήσαμε και τη ρώτησα για το ποιος έκανε αυτό το είδος εμπορικό, ποιος το έφερε αυτό το είδος και ίσως και ποιος το δημιούργησε. Και οι δύο καταλήγουμε στη Gillian Flynn, ξεκινώντας με το Sharp Objects και συνεχίζοντας με το Σκοτεινό Τόπο και το Κορίτσι που εξαφανίστηκε. Αν έχετε κάποια άλλη γνώμη και ίσως και κάποια σύσταση για πριν από εκείνη την εποχή, με χαρά να την ακούσουμε και να τη δούμε στο chat. Okay, so also in Greece, this genre is facing a huge success. Psychological thrillers are facing a huge success, and they are very, very popular. I suppose also in Germany, and of course it's abroad. Why? Why we assume that these stories are successful? And the writers are tending to move away from the typical detective story. We have a male that is trying to solve the problem, catch the murderer. We also saw Nesbo experimenting in different categories. So he moved from a male investigator and Harry Hole to more complicated forms with deep psychological characteristics. So the latest book, The Kingdom, was a psychological thriller. So why you think that we are moving from the typical detective stories to stories that contains more psychological analysis?
I guess the reason is because we can emphasize, we can just the main characters in these psychological thrillers in these books are just like us. These are normal people, and we can feel what they feel. it's very interesting for someone to read about detective work and the job of a detective. That's cool and everything and interesting. But many of us just aren't detectives. It's just we want to emphasize with a main character. We want to go with them and feel what they feel. So it's quite more. It's getting deeper, it's getting closer. So I guess that's the reason why we are very, very attracted to books like that.
Do you think also that the readers were bored with males investigators? They want to see a new aspect?
I guess people might be bored of cliches.
Cliches,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, and the male detective with a drinking problem and family problems, or who has a divorce behind him, or who hurts himself by smoking too much, drinking too much, all that stuff. These
It's a
are
cliche.
all cliches, yeah. But if you have a main character, a detective who's very happy at home, who has a nice family, so this is also not an interesting person. So it's very difficult to find someone you can center a story about around. Yeah, I guess people are bored with cliches. That's the point. It could still be a male main character. I guess it doesn't depend on the sex of the main character, but you don't want to read about cliches anymore. You've had that too often.
Great. Ρώτησα, στην Ελλάδα και γενικότερα και στη Γερμανία και στο εξωτερικό υπάρχει μια μεγάλη τάση να πηγαίνουμε πια προς τα ψυχολογικά θρίλερ. Στον κόσμο αρέσει πολύ να διαβάζει για ψυχολογικά θρίλερ. Ξανατονίζω ότι με τη λέξη thriller εννοούμε το thrilling, την αγωνία, δεν εννοούμε αίμα και μαχαίρια. Και μέχρι και ο Νέσμπο, όπως ανέφερα, έχει αφήσει για λίγο στην άκρη το Χάρι Χόλετ, τη σειρά του, βέβαια έχει γράψει και πάρα πολλά βιβλία με αυτή τη σειρά, και προχωράει σε κομμάτια ψυχολογικού θρίλερ και ρωτάω γενικά πού πιστεύει ότι οφείλεται αυτό, αν ο κόσμος κουράστηκε με τον detective, με τον άντρα ο οποίος θέλει να λύσει την υπόθεση. Μου είπε λοιπόν ότι είναι σημαντικό ότι τα ψυχολογικά θρίλερ εμβαθύνουν στους ανθρώπους, τις προσωπικότητες τους και τις συμπεριφορές τους και θεωρεί κιόλας ότι έχει να κάνει και με τα κλισέ. Μου λέει ότι έχουμε δει πάρα πολλές φορές αυτό το κλισέ του άντρα, του detective, του χωρισμένου, με τα προβλήματα του αλκοόλ, να προσπαθεί να λύσει την υπόθεση. Νομίζω ότι αυτό το κλισέ ίσως έχει κουράσει και όπως μου είπε στο τέλος, σημασία έχει ποιος θα αφηγηθεί την ιστορία. Okay. Romy, I saw an interview, I read an interview that you are actually say that you were an unsuccessful author for a lot of years. I hear you say it for 10 years in a row.
Yeah.
I'm not asking about what about now because I know, but how was the feeling? How you felt about it that you're coming over the surface and you're really rocking?
Yes, it was strange. I never thought that could ever happen. This is far beyond everything I ever dreamt of. So yeah, I've been an unsuccessful author for 10 years. I didn't know how to pay my rent or store my fridge. It was very, very difficult because I was a single mom of a boy, and I had my TV job, but I couldn't do it full time because of my kid. And I wanted to write, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and nothing happened. And then all at once, there was this one manuscript, Dear Child, and everything changed. So this was beyond weird, yeah. But I'm very, very thankful for that because I guess I've worked hard for that.
You deserve it, undoubtedly.
I appreciate it, because I never wanted to be on the best-selling list or earn a lot of money. I didn't care about that. I just wanted to write stories and know that there's an audience, there's people who want to read them. So if you give me money for that I can write, wow, that's great. But I just wanted to have an audience. So this is everything. This is more than I ever dreamed of. Yeah.
So maybe the success is due to that. It's due to the hard work, but you didn't care about money, but you cared about having your own audience. and this comes with results now, so it's great hearing it.
Yeah.
Ρώτησα λοιπόν, όπως μας έχει εκμυστηρευτεί και το έχει πει και σε αρκετές συνεντεύξεις, για 10 χρόνια θεωρούσε και έχει πει θεωρούσε τον εαυτό μου μια αποτυχημένη συγγραφέα. Είχα γράψει αρκετά τα οποία δεν είχαν εκδοθεί και μετά από 10 χρόνια τα κατάφερα να βγω στην επιφάνεια και να έχω αυτή τη μεγάλη επιτυχία. Μου είπε ότι το διασκεδάζει πολύ, νιώθει ευγνώμων για όλο αυτό που της έχει συμβεί. Και το πιο σημαντικό είναι ότι δεν ήθελε να το κάνει αυτό, να γράψει και να έχει επιτυχία για τα λεφτά. Αυτό που ήθελε να έχει το δικό της κοινό, να μπορεί να λέει τις δικές της ιστορίες. Και μου είπε κιόλας ότι αφού συμβαίνει αυτό και καταφέρνω και έχω και κάποια έσοδα, από αυτό είμαι πάρα πολύ ευτυχισμένη. Okay, I see in the chat that, okay, Dear Child is a brilliant freelance. Gillian Flynn, they are writing that it's great in mystery books, and it was something new that inspired us all. We have a question. Okay, we are hearing the rumors about a movie or a series in theaters. And there is a question that if you are going to get a name in this, if you're going to write the script or you're going to make some development or produce it, help it in the production. So what will be your role in this?
My role
Yes.
in the movie production, there will be none, absolutely none. You know, the rumors are true. There's going to be a movie or probably a series, a 6-part series. But I don't want to do anything with that. I'm not writing the script. I don't want to know about that because I tell you why. It's this yeah, I guess all authors are quite different in that area. Some just want to do it all just like you're writing your script and so on. I don't want to do that because I know I would have to compromise. You know, I've written that text all for myself, and it's just mine, and everything that happens in the book are things that I decided. Yeah, I was the little god of that story, and for the series things have to be changed. That's quite normal. Yeah, and I couldn't, I don't want to read about that. I just want to sit there and watch the movie and eat my popcorn and applaud after that. And there's a lot of people who are going to do a great job with that, but I'm out of it.
Okay, you know, reading your CV and your past experience, this comes with a surprise to me.
This is surprising, I know, but I, you know, now I'm an author. And I especially because I come from that business, from the TV business. Okay, now it's a film, but it's quite the same, and the working is the same. I totally trust those guys who write the script and who do the production. They are great, capable guys, and I don't want to, finger around there and make some noise and say, oh no, the heart was, I had the heart in mind like that, and you have built it like that, and I don't know. Because, you know, I'm a perfectionist, and I guess if something differs from what I would have had in mind when I wrote it, it would just be stressful for me and for those people. So just leave them to their job. They will do a great job. And I'm so happy that they're going to do a film or a series. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
So you make the wise choice, you step back and you enjoy it, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Ωραία. Ρώτησα λοιπόν, επειδή θα γίνει το βιβλίο, όπως είπαμε και στην εισαγωγή μας, είτε σειρά είτε ταινία και στη Γερμανία αλλά και στην Αμερική, ποιος είναι ο ρόλος της μέσα σε όλο αυτό, αν θα γράφει το σενάριο, αν θα συμμετάσχει στην ανάπτυξη του σενάριου ή στην παραγωγή, καθώς η ίδια στο παρελθόν ήταν μέσα σε αυτό τον κλάδο της παραγωγής. Μου είπε ότι ήταν κατηγορηματική, δεν θέλει καθόλου να μπει σε αυτόν τον κλάδο ξανά, θέλει να το απολαύσει. Όπως μου είπε, δεν θέλει να συμβιβαστεί, μου είπε συγκεκριμένα, γιατί μου είπε ότι αν είμαι μέσα σε όλο αυτό εγώ, ίσως να πρέπει να κάνω λίγο πίσω με κάποια ιδέα κάποιου άλλου, οπότε θα πρέπει να συμβιβαστώ. Δεν το θέλω να το περιμένω σαν έκπληξη, να κάτσω στον κινηματογράφο, να χειροκροτήσω στο τέλος και σε καμία περίπτωση δεν θέλω να επέμβω στη δουλειά των άλλων. Τους έχω εμπιστοσύνη και πιστεύω ότι θα έρθει το καλύτερο αποτέλεσμα. Okay, you said that you were born, as I read in your interview, in a country that you felt that you were trapped somehow. And I see common roots with the book. Can we treat the story as a consciousness way to cope with your past, to bear with your origins? Or it's a trip in the past that you did by writing this book?
Well, you don't have to forget that I was a kid when I lived in the GDR, yeah? And we fled from the GDR in 1988, I guess. So I didn't experience too much from all that stuff. I know that we couldn't go to on vacation wherever we wanted. Yeah, you had restrictions and stuff, and you couldn't buy everything you wanted. You couldn't even do any job you wanted to do. That was quite restricted from state. But you know, I was 6 years old. I had a good childhood. I didn't know anything else, so it would be very, very far to say, okay, she coped with her past by writing about being trapped. That's not the case. But I guess, yeah.
Maybe memories, not maybe some influences from your relatives, from your parents, but
I don't think you can compare that. Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think that's quite far to say that's influence.
Okay, you're very sincere and I like it. Okay, you're very honest. Great. Λοιπόν, ρώτησα σχετικά με τον τόπο κατοικία της, καθώς έχει γεννηθεί στη Γερμανική Λαοκρατική Δημοκρατία, ανεπίσημα γνωστή ως Ανατολική Γερμανία. Το σοσιαλιστικό, λοιπόν, κράτος που συμπεριλάμβανε το σοβιετικό τμήμα του Βερολίνου. Και επειδή το βιβλίο πραγματεύεται γενικά τον εγκλισμό, ρώτησα αν το βιβλίο ήταν ένα ταξίδι στο δικό της παρελθόν, ένα ταξίδι στην καταγωγή της. Μου είπε με απόλυτη ειλικρίνεια ότι ήταν αρκετά μικρή όταν έπεσε το τείχος. Μου είπε ότι δεν θα μπορούσε να πει ότι είναι ένα ταξίδι στο παρελθόν. Ούτε ακόμα και όταν τη ρώτησα αν έχει επηρεαστεί από κάποιες αναμνήσεις ή από κάποιες ιστορίες που της είπαν οι γονείς της, ήταν ξεκάθαρη. Μου είπε ότι δεν σχετίζεται το βιβλίο της με την δική της καταγωγή. Okay, freedom. So how important is freedom for you? Also freedom in the narrative of writing. Are you free when you write? I mean, are you free from other writers' influences? Or you go by plan? You have a plot line, you write down notes before you start your writing, you shape your characters, or you just start and that is. The road is in front of you and you're speeding up on the path. Are you saying, okay, let's see how we can cross this path, or you know beforehand how we are going to make it?
I'm not a planner, absolutely no planner. And freedom is everything. You know, I'm a mother. That's my only restriction, you know. I have to look after my kid. I have to look after when does he get out of bed, when does he get to school. But this is the only plan I have in my life. And for other things, it's just complete. Everything is free. You know, I live here in my woods. I have my garden. I run around barefoot and love all this hippie stuff. It's everything about freedom. And so is my writing. I don't plan. I have that crucial initial idea. And this is actually not a, it's an idea that's more...
You have the core, you have the title of that this will happen, and you're trying to see how this will happen, right?
Yeah, and it's not, the idea is not about an action, but about a deeper meaning. Yeah.
Oh, the general meaning.
What I have, and around that meaning, I circle an action, and then I just write. I'm not plotting anything. I just plot when I notice that I'm not getting further, that I'm stuck somewhere.
Okay.
That's when I plot. And in other things, I just go and write and be free and feel free and just type and see what's going to happen. And if your characters have a good CV, yeah, if you
Exactly.
have good characters, they guide you through that story. It's very clear what has to happen next. If
They are providing your story, actually.
yes,
Because the characters are shaping your story, not the plot beforehand.
you just have to listen. You just have to stick with what the character is, what he is like or she is like. What is her motivation? You always have to ask yourself, what is her center motivation, and just follow that path, and then you'll get through that story very easily.
Okay, so you mentioned about the deeper meaning, and
Yeah.
and I get it. I like it very much. So what's the deeper meaning of this book, of the Dear Child?
I'm not going to tell you because I would spoil for all those people.
Okay,
But
okay, okay.
about freedom, and it has to do. If you read the epilogue, I guess the epilogue tells you everything you need to know about the book. But don't read the epilogue before you've read the book. Just don't spoil yourself, please.
Okay, okay. Λοιπόν, ερώτησα αν ουσιαστικά κάθεται πριν και σχεδιάζει το πώς θα είναι το βιβλίο, τι διαδρομή θα ακολουθήσουν οι ήρωες, αν δημιουργεί διάφορα plots για να μπορέσει να τα ακολουθήσει. Μου είπε η ίδια ότι της αρέσει η ελευθερία, που ήταν και η αρχική μου ερώτηση, της αρέσει η ελευθερία, της αρέσει να έχει μια κεντρική ιδέα και να την αναπτύσσει. Δεν θέλει να περιορίζεται. Μου είπε της αρέσει να έρχονται τα πράγματα ελεύθερα, μου είπε χαρακτηριστικά σαν μια ζωή ενός χίπι. Και μου είπε ότι αρκεί να έχεις καλούς χαρακτήρες, να έχεις δημιουργήσει στιβαρούς χαρακτήρες για να μπορέσεις να πας παρακάτω, και αυτοί είναι που σου λένε τι γίνεται και εσύ απλά πρέπει να τους ακολουθείς. Μου είπε ότι αυτό που τη νοιάζει είναι το general meaning, η γενική έννοια, το βαθύτερο νόημα που υπάρχει μέσα στο βιβλίο και πώς θέλει να το ακολουθήσει ο κάθε ήρωας. Και όταν τη ρώτησα για το συγκεκριμένο βιβλίο ποιο είναι το βαθύτερο νόημα, μου είπε ότι δεν θέλω να πω, γιατί πρέπει κάποιος να διαβάσει το βιβλίο για να το πάρει. Για μένα, είπε, το βαθύτερο νόημα είναι ο επίλογος του βιβλίου, που όντως, σκεφτόμενος αυτό που είπε, όντως το βαθύτερο νόημα είναι ο επίλογος του βιβλίου. Και αλλά σας παρακαλώ, είπε, δεν θέλω spoiler, μην διαβάσετε τον επίλογο του βιβλίου, ξεκινήστε από την αρχή, γιατί έτσι δεν θα μπορέσουμε να πάρουμε αυτό το suspense που θέλουμε. Okay, I had the question, but I think that I know the answer. So if you have to make a choice, book author, script writer, TV producer, journalist, all, what would be your cherry picking? I suppose that I know the answer.
Book, of course I do. I guess that's also the reason why I don't want to get involved in a TV or movie production, because I have to write the next book. Man, yeah.
Okay, great. Τη ρώτησα αν είχε να κάνει μια επιλογή, καθώς είναι ένας άνθρωπος που είχε απασχοληθεί με πολλά πράγματα. Συγγραφέας, σεναριογράφος, παραγωγός τηλεοπτικών ταινιών, δημοσιογράφος. Τι θα ήθελε να κάνει, θα τα έκανε όλα αυτά, δεν θα έκανε τίποτα? Αν έπρεπε να διαλέξει ένα, τι θα είναι? Μου είπε, έχω αφοσιωθεί, είμαι συγγραφέας, θέλω να κάνω αυτό και μόνο. Okay, so before we went live, you told me that you just finished your third book, right? So you are in the process of editing. Do you want to tell us a bit of the story of this book, and what are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future, that's easy. I'm just writing until I am 80 years old and fell off my chair, and that's it. No, I'm not going to spoil the third book. You have to read the second one. I don't know when it's going to be published in Greece. I hope it's going to be published in Greece. So you have to read the second one, and then I probably spoil the third one for you.
Okay. Are we going to meet in your second book characters that we met in the first book?
No.
Okay. It's a totally different story.
It's really, really quite different from their child, but I want to be new with every new book, so I have to do something else, and never copy the first one, and just do new experimental things. Yeah.
But still, it's a psychological thriller, right?
Of course.
Okay. So do you plan that maybe you can skip on another genre, on another kind of storytelling
I don't think
in the long future, not in the near future?
maybe, yeah, but did you know it's actually I'm not writing my third book, I'm writing my third thriller. Actually, I
Thriller,
did
okay.
write 2 novels before Dear Child. No thrillers.
Okay.
Yeah, it were two novel for women. Just a typical chit lit stuff.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So I
Good.
guess in the future I'm going to write a lot of things, but for the moment now I'm very, very happy with the thriller genre because of the possibilities that are open for psychological things and stuff. Yeah.
So you're focused in this genre, you're focused in...
Yeah.
Great. Τη ρώτησα ποια είναι τα πλάνα της για το μέλλον και αν μπορεί να μας πει κάτι για το τρίτο βιβλίο της, το οποίο τελείωσε, μου είπε πριν βγούμε live μόλις χθες. Μου είπε ότι είναι συγκεντρωμένη σε αυτό το είδος, δεν θέλει να το αλλάξει, θα συνεχίσει με αυτό. Το τρίτο βιβλίο της, μου είπε δεν θέλω να σας κάνω spoiler για το τρίτο βιβλίο, θέλω να διαβάσετε και το δεύτερο, εύχομαι να συνεχίσει και να βγει και στα ελληνικά, που θεωρώ δεδομένο με τέτοια επιτυχία που είχε το πρώτο, ότι θα βγει και στα ελληνικά. Και θέλω πολύ να διαβάσετε το δεύτερο. Τη ρώτησα αν έχει κάποιους χαρακτήρες πάρει από το πρώτο και τους έχει βάλει στο δεύτερο. Μου είπε η ίδια ότι όχι, δεν το έχει κάνει αυτό, θέλει να γράφει ανεξάρτητα, θέλει να προχωράει με νέους χαρακτήρες και όχι να βασίζεται στα προηγούμενα. Okay, Romy, you're also a mother, so I think that your schedule is very, very tight. How you manage it? How you survive as a mother and as a writer? What is your daily routine, let's say?
But my son is 11 years now, so that's okay. It was quite much more harder when he was 3 or 4, and I just had to separate myself from my normal job and the writing and the kid. That was very hard. But now he's in a age where he just does his thing. I just have to look after him, that he gets some food, that he's not dirty, he's got clean clothes, he gets to bed when it's too late, he gets up ready for school and all that stuff. That's my only job. It's quite paradise now. Yeah. When I remember things when he was really, really young and in the kindergarten, that was really hard. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to write some stuff, and then I had to waken him up at 7 o'clock and make him ready for the kindergarten and stuff. That was really, really hard, but now it's really, really relaxing.
Okay, this is great. Okay, kids are a miracle, and sometimes they are helping in the writing process. I mean that there are a lot of times that they are stating something very clear, or they are questioning something in a very genius way, that they can give you an open mind, they can make you an enlightening question. So is there a chance that sometimes your son has asked you something not weird, but something but you can use it in your book?
Not exactly. There was nothing special that he asked, but he always reminds me of taking things simple, and to be able to write from a clearer point of view. We grown-ups, we are so complex and thinking, and sometimes it just needs simplicity, and that's where he helps me. Do you have children?
No, not yet. Let's see, Romy, if
Get yourself some children. That's a good thing for an author.
No, if I make some children and become best-selling author abroad, I will have very, very serious thoughts about it. So to follow your example. Ερώτησα λοιπόν τη Ρώμη αν, επειδή, πώς είναι η καθημερινότητά της, επειδή είναι μητέρα, πώς το αντιμετωπίζει τώρα όλο αυτό το κομμάτι. Μου είπε ότι τώρα είναι ένας παράδεισος, θα πάει πολύ καλά. Αυτό που τη νοιάζει είναι να φροντίζει ο γιος της να έχει να φάει, να έχει καθαρά ρούχα και κατά τα άλλα είναι 11 χρονών πια, πάει στο σχολείο, μεγαλώνει, αρχίζει και αποκτάει την μικρή του ανεξαρτησία, μου είπε. Αυτό που τη ρώτησα μετά είναι, επειδή τα παιδιά είναι, όπως μου είπε, πλήσιτοι, η απλότητά τους λοιπόν τους κάνει να σκέφτονται πολύ διαφορετικά από τον κόσμο των ενηλίκων. Αν την έχει ρωτήσει κάτι διαφωτιστικό, αν της έχει δώσει κάποια ερώτηση ή κάποια απορία ή μια απάντηση που να τη βοήθησε σε κάποιο βιβλίο ή να της έκανε ένα κομμάτι της, ένα trigger, ένα κομμάτι της για να γράψει κάτι, μου είπε όχι, αλλά αυτό που με έχει βοηθήσει πολύ είναι αυτή η απλότητα του κόσμου των παιδιών που με βοηθάει πολύ να δω τα πράγματα ως προς να δω τα πράγματα από μία άλλη οπτική, από μία άλλη γωνία. Okay, Romy, we are closing to the end of this book presentation. I can also call it interview. And because you said about deeper meanings, and I liked it very much because the conclusion is great in the book, and it contains all this, the deep meaning that you mentioned before. You said that you tried a lot in your life, so having a chance to be here with us, can you spread the spirit? Can you give us the advice to youngsters or even older people, writers, who are flirting at the edge of quitting? What would be your advice to them?
If you quit now, you'll never know how far you would have come. That's just it.
Great. This is great. Τη ρώτησα να μας δώσει μια συμβουλή, καθώς η ίδια έχει πει επανειλημμένως ότι ένιωθε πολύ αποτυχημένη την προηγούμενη δεκαετία της ζωής της και αν μπορεί να μας ενθαρρύνει ποια θα είναι η συμβουλή που δίνει σε νεότερους και σε ηλικιωμένους ανθρώπους για το κομμάτι το να τα παρατήσουν, ειδικά από αυτούς οι οποίοι γράφουν, οι οποίοι ίσως να μην έχουν καταφέρει να αποκτήσουν αυτό που εκείνοι κρίνουν για τη συγγραφή. Είτε αυτό σημαίνει λεφτά, είτε σημαίνει δόξα, είτε σημαίνει εκδοτική στέγη. Η ίδια μου είπε ότι άμα τα παρατήσεις τώρα δεν θα μάθεις ποτέ τι συνέβη παρακάτω και ήταν ένα πολύ ενθαρρυντικό μήνυμα. Okay, Romy, I think it's great that we were here today, even under these circumstances. The online meeting is very helpful under this pandemic, and we would like once again to thank public for this concept and Metechmio, the Greek editor, for all this and for the process of having here you today. I am anticipating to meet you in person, in a physical person, I mean.
Soon it will be possible.
Greece is a great country to visit us.
I've never been there. Can you imagine 100 degrees?
Okay, if the editor is hearing us now, Eleni, you have to make an official invitation. It's the best place to be, especially during summer.
And I promise I'm going to learn some words. So, publishing house, invite me.
Okay, I will arrange the deal. Okay, Romy. And I would like to να σας ευχαριστήσω όλους που ήσασταν σήμερα εδώ μαζί μας, στην ιντερνετική συνέντευξη. Ήταν πολύ μεγάλη χαρά που το παρακολουθήσατε και πολύ μεγάλη χαρά και εμένα προσωπικά που μίλησα με τη Ρώμη. Βλέπετε, είναι ένας πολύ θετικός και χαμογελαστός άνθρωπος και παρόλα αυτά που γράφει θα τα χαρακτήριζα σκοτεινά, πολύ ενδιαφέροντα. Το καλό μου παιδί, λοιπόν, κυκλοφορεί από τις εκδόσεις Μετέχμιο. Είναι ένα συγκλονιστικό ψυχολογικό thriller, το οποίο πρέπει να το αποκτήσετε. Εγώ το τελείωσα μέσα σε 2 μέρες, 2 βράδια και αυτό νομίζω τα δείχνει όλα. Okay, Romy, Eleni made a public commitment. She wrote that she's welcome. You are welcome. So, okay.
Thank you, Eleni.
Okay, I print.
For the ending now, you have to teach me to say goodbye in Greek.
Okay, we can say gute Nacht, but it's καλή νύχτα.
Καλή νύχτα.
Great, and goodbye is great. You're going is γεια σας.
Γεια σας.
Great. Okay. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ όλους. Καλή συνέχεια σε όλους. Thank you, Romy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.